Hi historians, it's your fearless leader here, Mrs. Solberg. I thought we would talk today about how you're going to go about constructing a comparison. And I'm going to walk you through some things step by step. The first thing is what a comparison is not. It is not a list, two separate lists side by side saying this is like this and this other thing is like that. Instead, a comparison comes from examining evidence and creating categories in which you analyze the similarities and differences of two things. The first thing that you need to do is create a conversation between the two different evidence lists. And to do this, you need to decide what categories of analysis you want to use. Let's begin by pretending that we are going to construct an analysis of the similarities and differences of Miss DeTore, Bryn Mawr's Director of Security, and someone who is very near and dear to your heart, me, Mrs. Solberg. Now, if we're going to compare these two wonderful women, we need to decide what categories of analysis we want to discuss. And so for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to pick three categories. The first one is what is our jobs? The second is tell me a little bit about our backgrounds. And the third one is let's talk about our interests. Okay, I'm going to come up with some discussion points in which we are both similar and different in those three categories. So if I'm going to talk about Bryn Mawr, about our jobs, we are both Bryn Mawr administrators. We're different though because those jobs have different responsibilities. Miss DeTore's jobs has her do work in all divisions. My responsibilities are confined only to the upper school. I supervise more teachers than she does. She doesn't supervise teachers at all. So we can find some points of similarity and dissimilarity in terms of our background. Both of us are American citizens. Miss DeTore and I have both been educated at girls' schools. Those are some points of similarity. Another thing is that we are both, we were born in the same year. We arrived at Bryn Mawr at the same time. So those are some other things that are points of similarity. In terms of differences, I grew up in North Carolina. Miss DeTore grew up in our very own Baltimore. She went to parochial school throughout her lower, middle, and upper school years. I went to a combination of public and independent school. Miss DeTore was an athlete. You may not be shocked to hear that I was not an athlete in high school. I spent a lot of time babysitting and doing things like that. Miss DeTore was more interested in sort of being on teams and things like that. Interests. Both of us like movies. I like to go to the movies in the theater, though. Miss DeTore prefers to watch them on Netflix. Miss DeTore is interested in the Ravens passionately. I'm interested in the Ravens when it gets to be playoff time. I'm sort of interested. I have more of a passing interest. Miss DeTore loves I Love Lucy. I have a passing interest in I Love Lucy, but both of us share sort of interest in talking about TV from the olden days. I like to read. Miss DeTore doesn't like to read much at all, although both of us have Twitter accounts, and both of us follow things carefully through Twitter. Okay, now, so we've constructed some points of similarity and dissimilarity here. And the next step is trying to make sense of these similarities and differences. Why are they there? Well, we're different people. We're different. That's not writing so well, but you get my point. We're different people. People by definition are different. But I think the next step is to create a question that is based upon our similarities and differences. So let's think about that. What is it about us? How can I make sense of this? Some questions that I might ask as I'm pursuing this: are we more alike than different? But I'm particularly interested, as I look at this, about how these two people came to Bryn Mawr. So I think if I were going to write a paper on comparing Miss DeTore and Mrs. Solberg, I would say, do we share experiences that led us to teaching and Bryn Mawr? The final step in creating a comparison and pulling up a thesis about that comparison is to develop a thesis or a claim based on your findings. So I think there's something that we could work with here. We could begin by saying, although Susan and Terry are very different people, our background in girls' schools, and our interests in issues related to adolescence, you remember I had that babysitting stuff, she loved the team stuff, and issues, how about associated with adolescence, adolescence, made Bryn Mawr an attractive place for us, made teaching an attractive profession for us, and made Bryn Mawr a great place to spend 20 years of our working lives. So I want to go over this again with you. When you are making a comparison, first you develop some categories through which you can compare the two items. Then, based upon those categories, you can identify similarities and differences. Then you mull that over and you try to figure out what the points of similarity and difference are and how you can make sense of them. Along the way, you may ask a question: why are they similar and different? How does this make sense? And the final step is to develop a thesis or claim based upon your findings. That's it, historians. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.